Hey, what's up, my ninjas? Shinobi here with another Diablo 3 video for you. Today we're going to be talking about the single target melt spec for the Demon Hunter. I've been really excited to show this to you because I've been working on it for a little bit, kind of fine-tuning it and all that kind of stuff. You'd be asking me, why do I need a single target spec Shinobi? I mean, if you think about it, when you do bounties, you're going to do a boss fight almost in every single, act that you do. You have to do a boss fight, you have to do that single target, so you might as well have that really good spec for it. Same with killing like Rift Guardians and things like that. You need ways of mowing things down really quickly, and the Demon Hunter does that very well. So let's go ahead and get into the spec, and I'll show you exactly how it all works and everything like that. So let me switch it over. Alright, so we are in now, and this is my Demon Hunter right here. I have, a decent amount of damage and stuff like that. It looks a little bit higher than it should be because of the steady aim, which you do need that for the single target spec because you're going to be, far away from the monster and you want to just plow him down before he gets close to you and everything like that. But we're going to get into some of the gear. This is a fire-based type spec, so I do have the Quadfecta Mage Fists here. Decent ones. I've seen people get much better ones, but it's not really about the quality of the gear, it's just about the spec. The quality of the gear is just going to enable you to be able to do this on higher difficulties and do it much faster and much more efficient, things like that. But this is just kind of what I have right now. I worked on Demon Hunter for the first couple weeks of Reaper of Souls, and this is where I'm sitting right now. But I've been focusing on Barbarian a lot. I know you guys are waiting for the update video on my Barbarian to see what it's like now. I've been finding a lot of items on the Barbarian, and I'm about 3 pieces of gear away from being able to farm Torment 6 efficiently, very efficiently, on that barb, and then I'll have a full video for you describing exactly how to do everything. So hopefully they'll be out soon. So like I said, I have the Mage Fist gloves here. I have the level 60 Cinder Coats. I haven't found the level 70 one yet. You get that reduced fire cost, which is very important for being able to unleash a bunch of these bad boys here. Then you also have the 15% fire damage. You have 20% fire damage right here. Really, I mean, there are some bracers that are better than these, obviously. These are not the greatest bracers out there. However, that fire damage does help out. If anywhere that you can get it, try and get it. Just some really basic gear just all around. Nothing really too crazy here. Yeah, just some like trifecta stuff. Things like that. Attack speed is not super important for this spec. I would mainly focus on crit chance and crit damage. Because of that, the reason for that is because it's based off of how much resources you have, not how quickly you shoot. So, if I had, maybe more crit damage in certain areas than I do, with attack speed, then it would be a lot more effective. But obviously, I mean, like in this situation here, I mean, you might as well get the attack speed. It's going to help you out, I mean, but yeah, so like right here, this is why I mainly focused on, instead of getting that, vitality out of there and stuff like that, you have the crit damage and crit chance, things like that. Just some really basic pants, like nothing really too crazy as far as the gear goes. The weapons that I'm using are these two right here, simply because I haven't found a two-hander that's better. Two-hander would be good for this as well too, because this is all, when you use the one-hander, it's all about shooting really quickly. However, like I said, it's based off your resources. So having like a slower two-hander with a quiver, you may even get some better results as well too. But yeah, you can mess around with it and just go with whatever you want. You don't have to have a two-hander. You don't have to do a wield. It's mainly about the spec. The gear that you have is just going to enable you to do it on higher difficulties and more efficiently. So, alright, so that's about all of that right there. Crit chance is decent. Crit damage a little high. Paragon points. I haven't even played on this Demon Hunter in a little while. I've been leveling up the Barbarian here, but yeah, so I'll just be maxing out that there, maxing out this here, maxing out that there, and sure, I don't really know. The reduced cooldown, reduced cost is going to be the most important thing here. Other than that, do whatever your character needs. Focus on crit chance, crit damage, obviously, but everything else, focus on what your character needs. For instance, right here, if you already have 25% movement speed, you don't need to do what I did right here. So Paragon points are solely based off of your gear, not my gear. A lot of people ask me all the time, Shinobi, you know, what's your Paragon points, man? Tell me how to do the Paragon points. And like, it doesn't matter what my Paragon points are. It matters what yours are. In this situation, though, it does matter what the resource cost reduction and crit chance and crit damage. Other than that, do whatever is based on your gear. But yeah, that's that there. So I actually did go up a little bit more in damage there. But yeah, so that's all of that. Let's get into the spec now. Spec is right here. Now, entangling shot right here, this is not going to be used very much, but if you have to use it for 1 or 2 shots, you might as well get a little bit of extra hatred. You get 6 hatred instead, plus it's a fire shot, so a little bit extra damage. So that's why I go with that there. But most of your attacks are going to be coming from Cluster Arrow with Cluster Bomb. As we've seen in the past, very popular skill. We've been using it since the beginning of Diablo 3. You know, it's very good. Loaded for Bear is good too, but it's better. Cluster Bomb is better in those situations that I showed you in the clips, but Loaded for Bear would be better in a situation like when you're going against like Malthael or something like that, because you know, he's going to be following you and staying really close to you, and it's really hard to aim those cluster bombs to be sitting on top of you the whole time. So you can just kind of kite him around and keep hitting him with the Loaded for Bears. So you could do that on that fight there. And then we also have Mark for Death with Mortal Enemy. So the attacks you make against marked enemies generate 4 hatred. So when you pop this Vengeance, you're doing attacks. Like you can see the weapon damage on every attack, and these are on every attack. So the cluster arrows are shooting, and these things are going and going and going, and you have your hatreds coming back, and you can just tell just how much hatred you get back because it just fills up so quickly, and it helps out a good deal. Also, the Wolf Companion for 30% increased damage for 10 seconds. Now, you could go another route here. For me, because I have such high damage to begin with, you know, getting that 30% just really pushes me over the top and works out really well for me. Preparation with Punishment, very important for this spec. Probably the most important factor other than the Cluster Arrow here, but yes, very important. You know, you want to make sure you get that hatred. You know, when you're popping all your stuff, you're shooting, you get to switch it up and go hit it over here and hit it over here, and you just keep going. And as you're hitting, you're getting more crits, which means you're getting your discipline back up, which means you're going to be using preparation much more, and it's just a cycle that keeps just plowing through the monster. Very important for it. Vengeance with Seath, gain 10 hatred per second, very strong. Not only do you do attacks while you're in Vengeance as well, you're also invulnerable to things that, you know, like pulls you in or something like that. I didn't test it on the Butcher if like when he threw out the hook and tries to pull you in, if it works against that. I'm pretty sure it does, but at the same time, I've tested out in other situations where they try to pull you in and you just stand there and keep like laying into them. Plus, you know, the 10 hatred per second is, you know, very nice because you can see I can just go boom, 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 and you can see that I can cast this much more often now. And you just keep going, and you're getting all that extra added damage in there as well too. Then we have the passives here. So we have Steady Aim. So you're, you know, like I said, when you're 10 yards away, which is not that far away. In this game, 10 yards away is probably something like me to Tyrael right here. Somewhere around there, maybe a little bit farther away, but it's not as short as you think it is. That's just the way that I've seen it in this game. Then we also have Single Out, gain 25% critical hit chance against enemies who are more than 20 yards away from any other enemy. So, for instance, on the Butcher, he has no adds whatsoever. So that's just a boost. That is just 25% increased critical hit chance, which is huge with Night Stalker and getting back that, you know, discipline with the preparation and cycling it through even more and even more. You're critting nonstop essentially. So it's awesome. Ambush is really good too because especially when you're doing the higher torments. You're doing the higher torments, like, you know, I've done this in Torment 6 before, in Torment 4, Torment 5, whatever. The monsters have 2 billion health, 75% health, of the monster. So it's quite a bit of health. I mean, 2 billion right there. You know, it's like what, 500 million damage that you get to do 40% increased damage. After that, obviously it goes away, but it's useful in other situations too. And you can also use this spec. You don't have to use it for just single target. You can use it in other situations. It just doesn't work quite as well as some of the other specs do for you know, just efficient farming or something, like going through rifts or something like that. Then you have the Night Stalker, like I said, critical hit chance. Right there, you know, restore your discipline, gonna be very important. Now, what kind of things can you do with this spec? You know, what kind of situations would you use the spec in? Well, first off, you would be, you know, if you're doing bounties, take a look at the bounty board here. You can see, you know, you got Skeleton King right there, and then you go to, and you got Butcher over there, you know, it's another bounty. You got, you know, Zoltan Cool, Belial, Magda, you know, Gom, Asmodan, things like that. Some of the bosses, they do spawn ads and stuff, so it's not going to work so well to use single target, single out, or steady aim, so you might be a little lacking on some of those situations, but yeah, so every time you do adventure mode and you're doing those bounties, you're going to run into a boss encounter, you're going to run into a single fight every once in a while. So whatever spec you're using, just go off, get out of combat, switch it up real quick, run over, and blow them up. That's all you got to do. And also in the rifts as well, where people are farming legendaries like crazy, you know, I've been finding lots of legendaries in rifts, so I suggest you do them. Do the rifts like crazy. At the end of the rift, you can fight the Rift Guardian, and they have a lot of health. You know, I've been doing Torment 4, Torment 5 on stream and on my barb, getting it all going and everything like that. And just playing with another person in my group, the Rift Guardian has like 2.4 billion health, 2.3, 2.2 billion health. So it takes a while to get through. But if you have a spec like this, you can just plow through it pretty quickly, you know, depending on the Rift Guardian. But most of them, you'll go through pretty quickly. Hope you did find this video informative, guys. Remember, if you haven't joined the Ninja community yet, it's right here. Just go to Find Community, Streamers, Personality, hit search right there. I think from the last video that I made, we gained like 500 members so far. Keep it going, guys. We got like 55,000 ninjas on the Ninja Army here. No reason why this number can't hit 20K, no problem. You know, just join it up. You can join multiple communities too, so if you're worried about that. And also, we always help each other out, farming with each other, all that kind of stuff. And when I'm pulling people, looking for people, you know, on the live stream to do stuff with, I pull them out of the community, and it's just it's a great way to be able to play with some of the viewers, interact with the viewers, and that's why, you know, I try to push it so hard. Also, make sure you check out the live stream. I am streaming 7 days a week, guys. Link is in the description down below. Hit that sub button if you did enjoy this video, find it informative, leave a like and a comment. Let me know, what should the question of the day be today? So I'm kind of curious, you know, your experiences so far. What is the best item you have found in the game so far? What is the best item that your character has found so far? And where did you find it? Did you find it in a rift? Did you find it in a bounty? Did you find it on a rock? Where did you find it? I'm kind of curious. Till next time, guys, I'm Shinobi. Thanks for watching.